Welcome to the Beacon House Podcast, recorded live in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Well, hello and happy holidays and welcome back to Beacon House. This is their 2023 year-end, 2024 New Year, Christmas, holiday spectacular, all that crap. You know why you're here. There's no point in me telling you. So anyway, before we get into anything, I would like to welcome back to the show Grace Steele, my lovely podcast co-host. How are you doing, Grace?
I'm doing wonderful. Hello, Spencer. Hello, listeners. It's good to be back. I haven't been in this chair and on this side of the desk of this handsome, funny fellow in quite some time. I'm sorry I haven't been around. I appreciate everyone who's stepped up and filled the void while I was gone. They did some awesome podcasts.
They had big shoes to fill.
Yes, they did.
They had very big shoes
They did
to
a
fill.
great job. They overfilled those shoes. I was just taking care of some stuff.
You hear that, everybody? If you were on the podcast in Grace's absence, you got compliments just now from the best. So that's wonderful. Dude. So how are you? How's it going?
I'm good. Working myself to death, basically. Just trying to work everything out. But, as life goes, it gets stressful. It's just this time of the year.
Yeah.
It's always at the end of the year. The last 3 months is super stressful. It never gets any better. I always wonder, I'm like, why is it? What's that song? It's a Christmas song, I think, by, I can't remember his name, but he talks about how Christmas is that warm, jolly feeling of season tidings and everyone's coming together. That is not what this season feels like.
Not remote. Dude, I remember there was probably a time back during the summer or something where I was like bored and looking forward to like fall and winter and like the holidays, just so there'd be like all kinds of stuff going on. And I'm, full disclosure, I do not feel like that anymore. I want it to just calm down and settle down. Like this holiday has just been on overdrive. There's so much going on. Some of it's really exciting and great, and we'll get into that. We'll talk about it.
Yeah. Some of it is, but it's been on steroids. It's just been a lot, and traffic's been horrible. I've never used my horn as much as I have ever. I don't think I've ever used it as much. Traffic is horrible. So then you're in a bad mood because you're late, or you're flipping people off, or you're getting flipped off, or you almost die because someone isn't paying attention and merges into your lane, and so where you get your place, you're amped up anglianxiety, and you're just like, I can't calm down.
I know, and you've already had road rage anytime you get anywhere. Dude, I remember I get I've lived in Knoxville a long time, and it's not weird to me that there are now more people than there were when I was, 30 or 20 or whatever. But I don't remember, it's just strange to me. I remember that used to, if you went near the mall, you were counting on being in some pretty bad traffic. I get that. The light would change 3 or 4 times before you got to the intersection. Okay. But now, on the way here today, it was backed up all the way down the interstate. The interstate was a parking lot, not anywhere close to the mall.
Yeah, it's like you're backed up 4 lights away. Down, you're past TJ Maxx, Kingston Pike is just block to block traffic. In every direction.
It looks like an end of the world movie. All the cars are stopped and you can't get off the bridge.
And Turkey Creek's horrible. Being out west, so it's just.
I don't doubt it.
It's stressful. I can't stand it. So everything's just coming around into a full circle.
So if you're out there and you've been going through it this holiday season, just know that the Beacon House we feel your pain. We're on your side, and we're out here clawing and scratching right along with you to get through to the reprieve of the peace of Christmas Day or whenever it finally dries up.
That's true. It's probably because we played with those haunted toys at Halloween.
I've actually got that. We were going to recap. Fucking Joe early. Dude, I've actually got that on.
It's his fault. That doll that came.
Yeah, that doll fucked up the year for us. I've actually got that. I've got a little list of things to revisit that maybe we did this year. And that Joe coming back, returning to the podcast is on my list. Anyway, but before we get into that, one of the things I love about you, Grace, is you're such good at collecting data and information, and you're just really good. You're way better than I am at that kind of stuff. But you had sort of compiled a list of some things that happened in 2023 so that we may reflect a little bit? Like what?
Just some interesting facts over the year. Some things that people may not have remembered. I'm not going to talk about the usual stuff of like the Trump, him being charged criminally. I'm not going to talk about the Israel and the Palestine war. We're not going to talk about Ukraine and Russia. We're not going to talk about the ones that everyone knows about, that's on everyone's heart and the big topics. We're going to talk about the things that you might have completely forgot that are that are good. That would be good ones.
We could use a little positivity this time.
Yeah, some positivity. So in March of this year, the United States record industry reported that for the first time since 1987, sales of vinyl records exceeded CD sales.
Ooh, I think I heard about that.
I thought that was a good one. I heard about that one too.
Yeah, and one of my big things, we'll get into it later, but one of my big things this year that I've been waiting for 20 years is my favorite band, The Marvelous Three, which includes my favorite artist, Butch Walker, got back together and they did a new record, and they put the record out on vinyl, and it was amazing. Mm-hmm. And my dear friend, Shauna, shout out, managed to get me a copy of it.
Hi, Shauna.
I mean... and it sold out pretty quick, but she managed to snag a copy for me. So yeah, vinyl's making a big comeback.
Mm-hmm. Huge in the younger crowd. Yeah. The younger generation are buying vinyls more.
Yeah.
Like my sister and I know some teenagers are. I think it's awesome. Like
I wish I could get like my girlfriend's daughter Autumn. Shout out if you're listening, Autumn. She has a vinyl player. And she's got records and stuff like that. And I just wonder, and I know some other people that are about that age. I think she's like 19. I know a lot of other people that are about that age. And I wonder when young people these days that have all these conveniences, like they have access to MP3s and Spotify and streaming and like YouTube music and just
Apple Music.
You don't have to really search very far for music these days, but they're still going and buying vinyl. And I wonder what the attraction is. Is it a nostalgia thing? Like, do they realize that this is like
vintage?
It's got a vintage feel.
Vintage things have always been a thing throughout the years. Like, in the 90s, it was like, the 50s and 40s things. And then it's the 70s and 80s. I think it's just like it's a vintage feel, and it's a retro thing.
I wonder
I think that's
like on the audiophile side of it, like vinyl is cool because it sounds better.
I think it definitely sounds better.
There's just way more information in one track of vinyl than there is on even a real high profile like WAV file. Most of the time what we hear are MP3s that are squashed down on streaming, and the computer decides what's important, and you just get like whatever your favorite song is, you get the computer's version of it that'll fit into this tiny little space. And the computer decides, like, you'll like this. If I cut out all these little things, you won't notice. And we're kind of used to that. But when you listen to something on vinyl, you generally get the full information. Like, you hear every little thing. There's no data compression. It's kind of like the music the way it was intended to be.
Right. To be heard. So I don't know much about recording and making vinyls and then like the difference between CDs. But I had a good friend, I think a year ago, we were having a conversation, and he would send me, he's good friends with my father, and he would send me vinyls, like old records, like old music, like old time musicians.
Yeah.
And then he would get me like new vinyls, like new albums, like the Adele record or Tool or I think even Incubus. And he asked me if I played them and if I can hear the difference and how they're manufactured. And he's like, new music is not meant to be played on vinyl.
Right. A lot of it's recorded on a computer. Yeah.
Right. He's like, it's not meant to be. So when they're putting it on a vinyl, it doesn't sound right. It doesn't sound as good, which is true because I've played a couple of songs and I'm like, oh, that Tool song just doesn't hit as well, or that, Adele is amazing, but I was like, it just doesn't sound as good as when I'm playing, the Michael Jackson Thriller song or Prince, Purple Rain.
Oh.
It doesn't sound as good. And I don't, why is it just, they can't make vinyls like they used to?
It's, well, and this is kind of up for debate between a lot of people, but I personally believe I consider myself an audiophile, and a lot of people believe that when you take something analog, like a signal from a microphone, and you convert it into digital, and then maybe you convert it back or something later. Like you get it into a computer and you work on it, and then you bring it out of the computer to go to to go to Spotify, or to put it on a vinyl record, or put it on a CD, or put it wherever people are going to consume it. Mm-hmm. But when you do that, you just never get back what you put into it because of that digital conversion. And it's getting better. It's getting better and better. And we're probably, I don't know, man, we're probably 10 years away from you really not being able to tell. But it's kind of the difference, the big comparison a lot of people use is like a digital clock that goes from number to number, or an analog clock where the hand sweeps. And the sweeping hand gets everything. Like even a really precise digital clock is still at some point jumping from 1 to 2. And everything in between kind of gets lost in the wash. Yeah. And it's considered not important, like 1.00005, 1.00006, 1.00007. At some point, the computer decides nobody's going to notice.
Yeah.
But when your ears don't necessarily work like that, because the music isn't just like information. Like a clock tells you information you need. What time is it? You look at the clock, it tells you. Done.
Yes.
And there's not really levels like, that number felt better than this number. But when you listen to things with your ears, they understand the world in a very different way. They hear every little thing. They hear stuff that's missing.
I agree, yes.
That's why something that's extremely digital tends to sound a little bit cold. And something that's very analog tends to sound very warm. And it just, there's just vinyl is real special for a lot of reasons. And I think some people nowadays that know they're going to produce a vinyl, if they're going to put something out on vinyl, will actually try to keep as much of the recording analog as possible, so that when it comes out on vinyl, you do get all the bells and whistles, and you do get all that magic.
I think that's important.
I do too.
That's really important because sometimes I have vinyls. Like I love listening to my vinyls.
Yeah.
Finn and I dance, but I've noticed that I listen to my older records rather than my newer artists, just because it doesn't sound as good. And if I want to listen to that, Incubus album or the Adele album or Miley Cyrus album, I'm not playing it on the vinyl. I'm playing it from Apple.
100%.
Because it just sounds better. But if I want to listen to Michael Jackson or Prince or Aretha Franklin or... any
of that old stuff, like any old Motown stuff.
Yeah, Ray Charles, like any of it. Yeah, like that's who I want to listen to. So that's one of the things that I thought was super interesting, because I know CDs. Like, who owns a CD? Unless you were buying CDs at the disc exchange back in the day. Who's buying CDs now?
They sell. They still sell.
They do sell. Like I have I will for like artists that I'm doing this. I'm getting a CD because I like the artist and I'm a fan, so I'm going to have their album, and this is what they put out. But when, usually, like Lil Wayne just dropped their new album, I'm not going to go buy a CD.
Of course.
I'm going to listen to it
on Spotify or wherever.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, that's 100% true. And I don't even understand, like at least CDs sound really good. Like they sound better than MP3. They don't sound as good as vinyl, but the sound quality on a CD is still a lot higher than streaming. So some people that are have a fancy stereo system maybe want a CD. I get that. But what's weird is bands are also putting out albums on cassette again.
What? I did not know this.
And cassettes sound terrible. Yeah. That's the lowest form of media. Like that's definitely no better.
Why are they doing that?
Again, it's got to be the nostalgia. It's got to be the nostalgia.
Just do a vinyl. Don't do that. Don't do that.
I know. Cassettes are sort of portable. So I don't know if you're about to see like a boombox revolution come back. Or, cassettes are super inconvenient. Like,
I hated sticking my finger.
Or a pencil.
Yeah, a pencil and and it gets all everywhere and pulling it out. I'm so glad when that wasn't.
Cassettes are only a little better than an 8-track. Like, it was.
Yes.
The idea was that you could listen to music in your car. That was the big thing. Mm-hmm. That's where cassettes had a huge boom in the 80s and stuff. But then all of a sudden the CDs and now MP3s and boom, streaming. You just got music wherever you want.
Oh, and speaking of streaming, guess who's back?
Who?
LimeWire.
What? How?
Yeah.
LimeWire?
LimeWire has made a comeback and he's making AI music.
What?
Yeah. I'll have to try to find it. You just reminded me when you said that. I saw it on new, I was yeah. I'll have to look it up and I'll have to find it. But yeah, LimeWire's making a comeback.
Motherfucker, if you would have told me in January that fucking this year, The Marvelous 3 would be playing live shows and doing a new record, and LimeWire would be big again, I would have been like, bitch, is it 2005 again? What's going on?
Yeah.
You got to be kidding me.
I remember coming home off the school bus and immediately going to download songs that my crush liked on LimeWire.
And do you remember how sketchy it was trying to find a good...
Oh, yeah.
Like, you would have to read the description to try to find the good one or the one that had the most stars or something. Otherwise, you would get the shittiest version.
Horrible. Yeah.
Oh my! And it takes so long to download it, and you could download it into your iTunes.
I would have like 20 going at the same time or more, and like it'd be backed up. And if my dad ever like needed to use the phone, because the dial just ruined the whole thing.
Oh, it was the worst.
It was the worst.
But the idea that you had maybe access to any music,
like anything,
was incredible.
Yeah,
that was before the big YouTube boom too, I think. But that was maybe that Napster and LimeWire, maybe the first time where you...
Because I remember Napster was first, and I was a big Napster, and then that was done, and then it was LimeWire.
Yep. And then LimeWire was really the big one for me before like iTunes. Like LimeWire was so sketchy that when it got to where you could just pay 99 cents and get the real deal licensed, not pirated, I was like, yeah, I'll do that. I'll pay $1 to
I got so many viruses on our computer. I was always in trouble. It was constant. So for my next one for 2023 earlier this year, NASA announced the astronauts for the first trip to the moon in over 50 years. So it was men and women.
They went this year?
Yeah, that they're like they're planning, like they're announcing that they're going to be.
They're going to go to the moon again.
Yeah. I thought that was super cool. And I went to NASA in Houston that was last year. So I remember them like getting ready to announce it. And it was super cool.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder why nobody's been. I guess there's just nothing to do. Like it'd be really, really expensive. But maybe now that there's all this talk about UFOs, they're like, we better start figuring out the close, we better get to the moon, we better get to Mars, we better get ready.
Well, they found another galaxy in our universe.
Yes.
They did.
I feel like I heard about that. Yeah. It's so crazy how myopic we are. Like, the world that we live in seems so big to us, but just if you go just outside of that, the fact that they're still finding new galaxies in our universe, just stuff like that.
Yeah, it says astronomers have discovered a rare solar system with 6 planets moving in sync with another one.
Oof. Telling you, dude.
Another solar system in our universe, in our galaxy, with 6 planets. Like there is something out there. And then apparently something was so strong, a signal from somewhere. It was like 100 billion light years away, but it affected radio signals here on Earth.
Yeah, dude, it's I don't know, man. Like the just the mathematical chance that we're alone in the universe is like you would probably I don't know what the comparison is, but I think I've heard somebody say like the chances of you winning the lottery, capturing the Loch Ness Monster, and being struck by lightning 3 times in a single day are way higher than the chance that there's nothing else in the universe.
Right.
Like it's almost impossible that there's not life somewhere else. Now, no, that's like saying what kind of life or what, but even if you do the calculations, and again, revisit previous Beacon House episodes. I know we did one where we talked about aliens specifically, and I read from a book by this astrophysicist, and he was like, let's say, for every star that's like the sun, the chances that you have a planet that's like Earth, and then the chances that there might be carbon and water, and then the chances then of life, but then the chance that life actually becomes self-aware like us. And it keeps getting smaller and smaller, but still it came out to be, there's a chance that in every galaxy you have about a very good mathematical chance for 10 civilizations.
Yes.
In every galaxy. That's taken away all the planets that are uninhabitable and could never possess, and all the types of life that never become, like there might be a lot of planets that have moss or fucking
water
or bacteria or something. But the chance that there's a life form that can think and reason and is self-aware like we are is about 10 per galaxy. Somewhere like that. But anyway, again, refer to past Beacon House episodes if you want the exact formula. But
it's just so I think that's awesome.
SAG Awards?
No, where all the actors and writers went on strike. There we go. Thank you.
The writer's
strike.
strike.
Not think of and all of our seasons and episodes stopped, and we never knew when we were going to see them again. And I know I had a couple of friends who were just out of work, not doing anything. So that was another big one this year. I think it was like the longest.
I've had a writer's strike absolutely end a show before that meant a lot. Like, I remember the writer's strike totally destroyed the Veronica Mars series, which is one of my first ever like TV shows I just could not get enough of. And Kristen Bell starred in it. And this is before she was Sarah Marshall, or before she was like Frozen or any of that kind of stuff. Like, she was just kind of like young and scrappy, and it's brilliant, and it's brilliant writing. Same guy that wrote it did write a series that's on Netflix called iZombie. And if you happen to run across it, just watch any episode. It's one of these where you don't have to know the backstory. You don't have just any episode. Put it on.
You can just watch it,
and you will be so entertained by how clever the writing is. And but the writer's strike absolutely firebombed like the third season of Veronica Mars. Like, it just went to hell, you know.
Yeah.
But speaking of TV shows, you texted me, or you messaged something earlier about a TV show that I'm a big fan of.
Yes.
And it had a profound effect on you. Tell the audience about your experience with Ted Lasso.
I am not someone who usually cries during shows. That's just, not me. I mean, I do cry, but not usual. But Ted Lasso, I have been binge watching it this weekend because everyone the other night when we were together spoke so highly of it. So I had to start it. Started on season 1, episode 1. I'm on the very last episode of season 2, and I think I've cried like 7 times.
Because it's not I don't cry during TV shows either usually, but this one is different because it's not a sad show.
It's not.
So fucking funny.
It's hilarious, but it has like, it's like, but every episode there's like a meaningful thing that, like, it's heartfelt. It touches home. It makes you think, and you're just like, what the fuck? Oh, don't make me fucking cry, Ted Lasso.
Yeah, dude.
It's that kind of shit.
Yeah, and just the way that the things the characters encounter and how they deal with them, and they don't deal with them perfect. Like, the people in the show are very flawed and very fucked up and very mean to each other, but also funny, and then they come together at just the right time, and there's just, that show absolutely lives in your heart. Mm-hmm. And it's like, it's very, very special, and my girlfriend Babs, who you may have heard filling in one of the last 2 episodes, like, she is absolutely all the way down the rabbit hole on Ted Lasso. And it's just hard to explain to people why it's so good. You just got to watch it.
It's just so good. It's just the comedy's good. The actors are good. The writing is good. Yeah. The storytelling is good. Just everything's lined up. It's just amazing.
Did you see the Christmas episode?
Which?
The one where they're like all going over to Higgins' house.
Yes.
Oh, that one. I can't.
It was great where they were going at the end. They were giving out the gifts.
Yes, that screwed me up. That one got me. It wrecked. I still can't watch it without crying. Like, I put it on. The minute the credits come up, I start crying. Like, that one. This Christmas episode of Ted Lasso is my ultimate kryptonite. But everybody cries. Everybody that watches it cries because
I didn't think I was going to. I didn't hear it was a show that people cried in.
Well, it's like a happy cry. Like, you cry because things turned out so good. Or like, it's got so much heart. Mm-hmm. And our friend Lucas, shout out Lucas, who we were all together the other night. He was there, and Lucas is a very manly man. He's very metal. He's fucking. He's like a Viking. Lucas. Also, not to downplay Lucas Trombley is also one of the sweetest, most self-aware, smartest, most pragmatic, talented people I've ever met. So, but he doesn't look like a softie. I'll put it that way. And he and I, when we both discovered that we were watching it, would like message each other on whenever it came out, Wednesdays or something. And I'd be like, "How you doing, dude?" And he'd be like, holding it together. But we were both fucking watching it, crying.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll. If you think a show can't get to you, Ted Lasso will get to you.
Yeah, it was really good.
It'll handle your ass.
Yes, it was wonderful. I enjoyed it.
Well, man, like, I kind of coming back to, and right behind you hanging on the wall is a poster from the Marvelous 3 show at the Tabernacle. And that poster it's framed now, but at the time, it was the second night. The Marvelous 3 is one of the most spectacular bands ever to exist. And if you know, and if you don't, you've still got time to find out why. But it's just, they were so far ahead of their time, and they were just so hyper talented, and their songs are just so good, and they were energetic and fun and quirky, and kind of all the reasons people like Ted Lasso. They just had so much heart, and it was real clever, and it wasn't cookie cutter, and they were incredible, and they did a couple records, and then they had to break up because of trouble with their label, and it was just one of those like sad stories of they should have been bigger than U2 or Taylor Swift, you know, and they just never got the traction. But now, anytime somebody goes back and discovers them, like recently, the drummer for Dream Theater, Mike Portnoy, who, that's another thing. If anybody's into prog music, Portnoy had been away from Dream Theater for a long time. It burned the city. Brandon Lee's favorite drummer, one of my favorite drummers of all time. Just one of the guys. He's at the top of a very small mountain of like incredible drummers throughout history, and he plays in a bunch of really, really cool kind of technical bands, but it's always impressive. And he's back in Dream Theater now, so you can chalk that one up for something cool that happened in 2023. I know a lot of music people are excited about that, but he was on social media, just discovered Butch Walker and just discovered Marvelous 3 and just discovered all this year, and he was over the moon about it. And so just a lot of people in the industry were like, you know, that behind the scenes, who Butch is their hero just like he is mine. People like Pink and Taylor Swift and Michael Jackson's daughter and everybody in Fall Out Boy and everybody in Panic at the Disco and everybody in Green Day. And like this guy has helped them so much down through the years. But now he's back with his original band doing it. And even though he doesn't really play stuff like that anymore, it was phenomenal. And that poster on the wall, the second night in Atlanta, we went to the first two shows, Friday and Saturday. And I stood in line at the merch booth and I bought that and I rolled it up and I carried it with me all night. Like even after the show, we were taking Ubers and I was with a bunch of our dear friends. And if you know, you know, we were all together, and including people who've been on this podcast, like Brandon Hudson and like a lot of the people from the Hot Wing episode, you know. And I carried that poster all over Atlanta with me. We went to all the spots where like Butch is important in Atlanta, like stuff that's just in the history of the Marvelous 3. And I carried it all the way back to Knoxville and then straightened it out, flattened it out for 2 days on my table and framed it. But
it looks good.
It's cool, and that was one of the most significant things. And it's weird too because they announced they were going to do these shows. It was right before Halloween, and we managed to get tickets somehow, and it was crazy. And we had to trade a lot of tickets to get everybody there, and it was a lot. But it went down, and the thing was they recorded a new album too, just to not go back and just play like a reunion show. Like they had a new record, and it's amazing. And the album dropped the same day that our dear, dear friend, the beer master, Brandon Hudson, my brother from another mother, the sweetest man, I love you. He threw a huge, very, very neat Halloween party at his house on Friday the 13th, and the album dropped the same day as our Halloween party. And that he also went to Atlanta with us. So there was just a lot. Like October was just super magical because of Butch, and I mean, it was just, I'm still just like vibrating from it. You know, it's going to take years for the magic of that to wear off. So that's a
good thing that happened this year.
That was 100% the
highlight of year.
The highlight of the year for me was being being in Atlanta with, you know, and Babs she was introduced to it too. You know, like she wasn't into Butch before this year, and so she's really leaned in and like, you know, and he even started following her on social media, you know. So there was a lot of wonderful things that just made my heart want to explode happened around the Marvelous 3 and Butch Walker, my hero, you know, just a lot.
Well, you exposed me to Butch Walker, and I now think he's amazing.
I do that with
a lot of people.
Yeah.
So I think he's amazing, and I appreciate, you know, learning about new music, and I had no idea about him, and he's amazing.
It's a couple things you can bet on. If you meet me, you're going to get, hey, do you like coffee? And have you heard of Butch Walker? Like it's going to fucking, and then probably after that, you'll get like, by the way, my band Burn the City. Anyway.
So it would be.
And then, Joe Hurley came back and did an episode. He'd been to Bobby Mackey's. We still have the koozie here. I've got the koozie right here.
Oh, yes. Yeah, he came back and brought all the haunted things that changed that changed, the rest of this year for us. We played with all those haunted toys.
Thanks, Joe. You cursed the year up for us real good.
I mean, my year definitely changed after that. Just kidding. No, it was a good time. I enjoyed meeting him and having all that discussion and seeing all the freaky stuff. Because I love horror and haunted, like anything haunted. I totally believe in ghosts and demons and all of that. So,
and I will say this too. Like I'm right there with you, and you really are. But you're a great person to navigate that kind of shit with, because you have an open mind about it, but also you're like a lot of fun to like you lean into it and you see like the fun in it, even if it's a little scary sometimes. But like you're a really great person to navigate like the supernatural and the unknown, and like you do really well with all that stuff. And I tell you, that guy Joe Hurley, like he and I mean, yeah, we've been through some spooky shit together. See, Ouija board episode, but I've known that guy since the 4th grade. And we've had a lot of crazy times that did not involve anything supernatural, or like he's just known me most of my life. And most of the funny things or crazy things that have happened in my life, he was there.
Yeah.
So that guy can tell. If anybody runs into him, don't ask him any stories about me, because he's got them all.
Because he's got them all.
He's got them all.
He has them all with you. Well, on a, downside of it, speaking of music, of, icons, Tina Turner died this year.
Holy shit, that was a big one.
That was a big one. I remember the year when Michael Jackson died.
Yeah.
That was a big one.
I do too. And even after his like legacy had kind of gotten tarnished with a lot of the accusations, and still his contribution to music was like so big that even all that stuff couldn't
cast a shadow on what he did.
Cast a shadow on it.
You can't. He was just too big. And Tina Turner, she's just an icon in the rock world.
Yeah.
What she's been through in her life and then how she's paved the way. Like, I have a few of her records on vinyl. I listen to her on vinyl.
Dude, one of my all-time favorites is her and Bryan Adams singing It's Only Love. And I think if you Google it or YouTube it, there's a live video of them playing It's Only Love. And holy shit. I mean, just badasses. Killers.
Yeah.
Killers. Speaking of that, too, I will say something more recent. I think, in fact, it was just last night. They had Billie Eilish was on Saturday Night Live, and one of the songs she did was just the traditional "Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas." And man, look, it was special. I saw a clip of it, and man, like I don't know, like it was just that YouTube clip of her on Saturday Night Live was a highlight.
She's an amazing singer. Yeah, she's very talented for her age.
She's got something that I don't want to say nobody else has, but most other people don't have. Even incredibly iconic singers like Taylor Swift, like oh my God, I'm like Beyonce, like, you know what I mean? Like Christina Aguilera, like Dua Lipa, like whoever you're into. Billie Eilish has this different thing. Like, she's so organic. There's just like this real vulnerable honesty to like how she did. Like, it's weird. Like, you at one minute you're like, oh, she's making this look easy because she's so skilled and talented and she's just so good at her breathing and her. But then sometimes you'll kind of go, wait a minute, like she's struggling a little bit, or she's close to like. You just feel like you're seeing a real human.
You do.
Sing for real. And I would, if anybody wants to just watch something that'll kind of get you going a little bit, like you'll feel it pull on your heart a little bit. Watch her sing and Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas on SNL. And then immediately after that, go to YouTube and watch the Beacon House Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas video that we made in this room like 3-4 years ago, whatever. But
that music video?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
That's a good one.
Go watch that, but watch Billie Eilish first because it's better. So
that's a good one. What other topics do you have, Spencer, on there?
Oh man, just some personal accolades. Like we're real happy the Burn the City graphic novel came out this year.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That was a big one. Like that was just a weird move for a local band, and like a lot of people, we weren't really sure how a lot of people would receive it. Like comic book people and artists obviously would get it, but like some of just like the average fan were sure, not that they couldn't understand it, we're just unsure they would be interested in it. Like, why do you guys have a comic book, and people leaned into it.
Because they're badasses.
People fucking loved it, dude.
It's beautiful. The artwork was amazing. Yeah. The storyline following
we're so proud of it.
So
that
when Hunter, that episode we had when he was explaining
Oh, and it fucked me up. Like, I didn't even know.
I was sitting here. I was like, what? And he's like, you follow it like this, and it goes from here, and this is what this song means.
Yeah.
But it was awesome. Y'all have had a great year.
I know, dude.
Y'all really have.
We got into we passed the first round of the Battle of the Bands. And if anybody's interested and you're not busy on January 4th, round 2 is happening. And this time I'm okay really, really pushing because I understand how the charity thing works. So like you get to vote for one of however many bands are there. You get to vote on which one you think should win, which is fine. And if it's not us, that's fine too. But you should definitely still come out, and the votes donate money to charity. But also you can just pay $5 to any of these charities. And last time it was, I haven't gotten the official word if it's going to be the same, but it was Young Williams and then the Knoxville History Project and the Empty Stocking Fund. And I'm not encouraging one over the other, but I will say a girl who works for me is volunteering now at Young Williams, and she's a veterinary student. And she was just saying, like, I don't want to get into it, but they need help.
They have taken over. I was reading on the news today. So Young Williams is taking over animal control. So animal control used to be ran by local law enforcement for Knoxville City, and the county, and it was officers trained, so they would respond to a call, seize the animal, bring it to Young Williams. Not a lot of helping resource meeting
rehabbing
with the owner who just doesn't know the ordinance or needs help or something of the sort. So now I'm not sure what all the ins and outs, but looks like Young Williams is now, they are the ones who will be, they are going to have trained people, I guess not officers, but trained people who will go to the call. And if it's a criminal offense, something where it's breaking the law, then the officer will come on scene.
Yeah.
But if it's just, the animal's being tied up, or the animal seems, there's an animal running loose, or something of the sort like that, then they're the ones who respond to bring closer the community to connect, so that the owner is more aware of what they should be doing, what resources Young Williams has to help, because they have tons of resources. They can help with vet bills, they help with housing, they can help, getting, dog houses, dog food, all sorts of things that people aren't aware of. So I thought that was interesting.
Well, I know, and apparently
this year they've taken in more animals than they have any other year.
That's what my friend was telling me. Like she had been there a couple times, and she was just like they have so many dogs and cats, like that they're having trouble, like they're having trouble finding people to walk the dogs. Mm-hmm. The adequate amount of times every day, and they're having trouble finding people to just like clean.
Well, I used to work at Young Williams.
Yeah,
remember? So I worked there for several years, and I left back in 2020.
Yeah,
I believe, and 2019, right before 2020. And it's just, it is difficult, and it's a lot, and they do need volunteers, and they need people, like, even if you can just bring blankets and toys, or if you can donate food, or anything that you can do to help, if you can volunteer your time walking dogs, or even, going in and just helping. They have different areas that you can volunteer. You can help clean, you can help walk, you can help take photos, you can help back in intake when people are coming in looking their dogs, you can help walk people through, just anything of the sort.
And I'm here to tell
really
you,
matters.
I'm here to tell you, I've got several rescue cats that all have been fixed by Young Williams because they were strays, and they were fixed for free by the space shuttle. And they've sterilized the animals. They tip their ears so that they can't,
the community cat program.
And I have 2 that still live outside, that aren't technically mine, but like I feed them and take care of them, and they take care of me by hunting rodents and stuff. But they've both been fixed by Young Williams.
Yeah.
So they do really, really good things. And I'm offering our listeners a chance to help donate money to them, and also maybe cast a vote for Burn the City. And also, more importantly than any of that, have a good time and do a good thing and just be around fun people and come hang out with us. Come talk to us on January 4th at Scruffy City Hall. There will be other really great bands playing. It's not just my band, Burn the City. There'll be other cool bands. And no matter who you choose to vote for, the money will go to the charity of your choice, including Young Williams, if you want. And I think if you buy a pizza, you get 4 votes. And all that donates money to them. And if you just want to pop $5 in there, you get a vote. Or if you want to pop $20, you get 4 votes. Again, I'm not saying, but if you wanted to do something really, really nice and you're feeling charitable and you love Beacon House and you love Burn the City and you love Young Williams and you love animals and you just love being a hero, this is your chance, folks. I'll shut up about it now. But January 4th, Scruffy City Hall, Burn the City will be playing and helping raise money for charity. So please, please come out to that and be merry. And that's about it. I'm looking forward to.
I'm looking to next year. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I feel good about 2024.
This year's has its up and downs. I've had some good things. Yeah. Bad things, like the up and downs. I mean, every year has it, but there's always the year that's like, man, this year is a little bit more rough than previous. So I'm looking forward to, getting through this cold weather. And
yeah, I'm hoping, I know there's, every time we start approaching winter, I know a lot of people are hoping for like snow and let's have a white Christmas. And I'm not opposed to that, but I just hope that we don't get like shut down, like roads closed.
Not like last year.
Oh my God, everybody's pipes burst on Christmas Eve. Like the whole city froze.
Yeah, everything shut down.
Yeah, I don't have time for that shit, baby.
Not this year. We don't. No, it doesn't look like it. Like that's going to happen. We're going to be a little bit warmer. We have Finn here. He loves the snow, so I know that he definitely probably wishes that it would be because he likes to roll in it.
Yes, the number one canine friend of Beacon House, Finn, is in the room right now.
He's just napping. And
he's adorable. He's the best boy. He's such a good, no offense to anybody else's dog, but Finn's better.
He is better, and he's just napping, and he's here. He'll be 3, so that's a good thing.
And there's so much stuff to chew or scratch or pee on, and he's like an adult. He's more of an adult than most of the people that are in this room.
Yeah, he's just laying there like, he's just chilling. He's a good boy.
You fucking heard me. I said what I said. This dog behaves better than you do, except for Brandon Lee. Brandon Lee's great. Yeah, dude. I will say shout out to a dear, dear, dear friend of mine, Jessica Thompson. Now we call her Jessica Rabbit. But her and her husband, Aaron, have always been so good to me for so many different reasons in so many ways, but she was the one that invented the library bar downtown.
Oh yeah.
And they were the previous owners of Sapphire, and they're current owner-operators of Brother Wolf and Osteria Stella. Mm-hmm. Their new concept, which I have been very lucky to see behind the scenes inside the French restaurant Lilu, is opening very soon, probably the week that we play at Scruffy. Like
where?
Maybe that weekend. Downtown, where Sapphire was, in the ground level of the Hotel Clio.
Oh.
And it's going to be called Lilu, and it's a French restaurant. Unbelievable, out of this world. And, me and another member of Burn the City may or may not be helping run a couple of cables in there for him. But everybody's pitched in, like our friend Seth Rowlett, who's the number one woodworker ever in the universe ever, but also a killer guitar player and the guitarist for White Knight that Burn the City plays with sometimes. He did the woodwork in there and the build out, and I've seen it, and like, Jesus Christ,
you have so many cool friends, Spencer. You're so cool.
Maybe I'm just in the right place at the right time, but I'm here to tell everybody, like, set your sights on something to do for the new year. Go check out Lilu. Give them some support. They really put a lot of work into it, and it looks unbelievable.
Wow, I'm excited.
Yeah.
That would be nice. Caleb and I will have to check that out. Caleb's always wanting to find new restaurants, what's going on.
And I mean, if you consider her track record, like everything, every concept that she's opened just kills.
It does.
Like she doesn't do anything half-assed. She's a freaking savage. It's amazing. And her and Aaron both are so sweet, and like they, again, they also support Burn the City. And you know what? Maybe in 2024, maybe we have them on the podcast.
Oh, that would be nice.
So maybe we could make that happen.
That would be nice. We should make that happen.
But that's a good one. I give that high marks and high recommendations for going into 2024. Is there anything else big to look forward to?
In 2024, my sister's getting married.
Awesome.
My sister will be married in June to her long time boyfriend. They've been dating since high school. They've been together like 8-9 years.
I may actually leave the country for the first time in 20. I've never been out of the country. I don't have a passport, but my dear partner, Babs Benson, She likes to. She's an expert at vacationing in like Mexico, and she insists that we've got to go. I've got to see it. And
to Mexico?
Yeah. So this may be the first time Spence goes abroad.
Yeah. Oh, that would be a good one.
Yeah. We'll see.
That will be. Yeah. I'm trying to do some traveling as well. We went to Yosemite this year.
Oh, I remember that.
I remember we were
Grace
talking
goes
about
west.
That. Yeah, I went west. So that was this. So I'm trying to do more traveling in 2024.
Yeah, dude. I very much want to visit Kansas City because her daughter and her granddaughter live in Kansas City, and they live just as fate would have it. They live real close to like my relatives. So.
Oh, that just works out.
Yeah, that's a great.
It's like a match made in heaven.
I hope so.
Or in hell.
Same thing.
Same thing.
No,
good things and all around, but it's like, is it heaven? Is it hell? Or is it the stratosphere? I'm
going to go with yes. But yeah, so that's a good trip for us. We hope to do that. I hope just to keep doing this. I hope to keep doing a bunch of fascinating Beacon House episodes. I hope to do. Hopefully, Burn the City is working on a new record. I don't want to get too into that now, but it's a whole new concept. There's a whole new story. We'll
have more positive things.
There's going to be all this behind the scenes, like imagery and stuff, like the meanings, and it's going to be really, really good. So maybe that'll come out in 2024.
Nice. Yeah. We'll just make it a good year.
I think so too, man. I think we've got a lot of good things. Now, one thing, 2024 is going to be an election year, and you know how that shit goes. So just let's get ready to just get our let's get ready to get our fucking adult pants on and be decent to each other. And again, you can go back through the Beacon House archives. We've reminded people, but you can vote for whoever you want, and you can just leave the voting place and not talk about it.
Yeah.
Like you can just throw that little sticker right in the fucking trash and not put it on social media or shame your friend for not thinking the same way you do.
Nothing. Just vote.
That's right.
And keep your opinion to yourself. And however it turns out is how democracy works.
Yeah. We can all just have some gin together afterwards.
There we go. Yeah. Just let democracy play itself out because, that's it. There's nothing else you can do. You just let it be. You leave it in the voting booth. And
I use the analogy, like you've heard people say, we're all in the same boat. But imagine if we're like really in a boat and we're out at sea and there's two captains and like everybody's voting on which captain's going to be in charge of the boat for this year. Like whichever one wins, half the crew is going to be salty, but we still need to keep rowing. We still need to get down to
can't stop.
We got to get buckets and scoop the water out of the galley or whatever. I was almost at the basement. Whatever the basement of a boat is, like we've all got to fucking hoist the sails and like we can bitch a little bit, but like, all right, we got to get back to work.
We still got to do it. We need to do something. Like we got to do something because it's, we can't let it fall apart and rot.
Yeah.
And drown with the sharks all around.
And I still think that the magic of the country and everything is definitely the people in it and how they work together in communities to do things. And it's not who's on TV and it's not, CNN and it's not any of this bullshit. It's definitely how we treat each other. And that's 100% locally more important than whatever happens at the election. So again, it's going to be a heated one, I know, but let's maybe go into it with the idea that we're going to be, that none of the candidates are really what we deserve.
Right.
And until we get some, maybe we can be kind. Like maybe that's our New Year's resolution.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Grace, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, all of it.
Yes.
I wish
happy holiday.
And I wish all the listeners the best of everything. Please be safe and be good to each other. And Beacon House will be back, and we'll see you in 2024. Huh! Oh my.